legislature passed several bills to help homeowners buy insurance at a reasonable rate. At Governor Kathleen Blanco's urging, they even passed a policyholder's Bill of Rights. But will the $100 million incentive plan to lure new insurance providers to Louisiana provide enough relief? And what other steps should the state take to make insurance more available and more affordable? Joining us now is former Insurance Commissioner Jim Brown, who now has a talk show on 99.5 in the morning. And thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here with you. And I would tell you right off the bat, I think what the legislature did was a little window dressing, maybe putting their finger in the dike. But as far as seeing any major results of giving us lower insurance rates, it's just a minor step, and we still have a long, long way to go.
What about this $100 million insurance pool to lure more insurance providers into the state?
Well, it's corporate welfare is what it is. Any insurance company would like to have the money, but as far as a long-range solution to the problem, it's not going to make that much difference. Are we going to do it every year, spending billions of dollars to buy insurance companies to come in here? National consulting firms like the RAND Corporation are saying that's not the solution. Government, to some degree, has got to step in. I don't like that. A lot of people don't like that. When you're living down here in the bowl in which we live, you've got to have a combination federal and state response, and so far we've not got
Before we get to that, they also abolished the Insurance Bond Rating Commission, the Insurance Rating Commission.
That meant nothing. That was just, that was window dressing. Didn't make any difference at all.
So what should be done? What do you think should be done?
Combination of two things. Congressman Bobby Jindal down here has got some pretty good ideas. Take the federal flood insurance program, enlarge it to include wind, because a very troubling decision came down from the Supreme Court this week saying that your wind coverage is not even relevant if there's when the flood waters are involved. So we've got to have a combination of wind and flood coverage, number one. Number two, we need what New York got after 9/11, a national catastrophic program. That's what a coverage for New York gives the insurance companies a level at which they don't have to pay, but they have to charge much lower rates.
How do we get that?
Well, Congress is going to have to pass that. I testified back in 1995 as insurance commissioner on that act. It's going to take a real Herculean effort. Now, what's happening is weather problems all over the country on the East and West Coast are building more support for such a fund. So it wasn't realistic a few years ago. It may have a chance now. It's going to take a couple of more years, though.
We have the sense that people in Congress think they've already given so much to the Gulf Coast and Louisiana that they've sort of had it with us.
Here's the difference. Insurance rates are going through the ceiling right now in New York, along the coast of New York, South Carolina, out on the West Coast in California. So pressures are being brought by those congressional members of Congress to come in and make a difference. So there's a chance, but it's still a couple of years off.
And what about Florida? You have talked about Florida being something that we should be emulating, and yet I'm hearing in Florida that the rates really aren't coming down.
Rates went down fairly dramatically initially. Now they're leveled off and may go up. Here's the difference. Florida's rates are much cheaper than ours are. Now, they have much more exposure than we do out into the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean, but their rates are significantly lower than ours are right here.
What has Florida done?
Done several things. They put a state catastrophic fund together, something we ought to do. California did it. Mississippi is doing something along that lines. We don't consider anything like that.
And what does that mean?
State funds means this. A small portion of your insurance policy goes into a pool, and then it puts an umbrella over the state where the insurance companies can buy reinsurance and only are told they're going to have a certain level of exposure, but they guarantee that rates are going to be lower. So sure, California, where they're out in Florida, they're kicking and moaning a good bit because they want higher rates. But I'll tell you what, they're a lot cheaper in Florida than they are here in Louisiana right now.
But a catastrophic fund, would that really work in Louisiana? We're a much smaller state, much smaller base.
Problem is it would take longer to build up. We should have done it back in the 90s when I had proposed it and other people had talked about it. It's going to take years to build up enough money to make a difference. Now, it's been proposed by some people up in Baton Rouge that we bond out that money and put a certain money in the pot. If we can get through 5 or 6 years with a catastrophic fund and the money builds up, then we're going to be okay. If not, it's going to be a problem for us.
How do you see the insurance situation here right now?
I think we got to give homeowners more flexibility. Number one, it's not good. USA Today said that people can't sell homes. They don't buy homes because of the high cost of insurance. Yeah, very much so. We ought to go back to the legislature, and I think the next governor is going to do this. There's been more pressures building to do several things. Give you as a homeowner more flexibility. If you live out in a subdivision, let the subdivision get together and form a joint underwriting association. Let them insure themselves if you want to. We can't do that in Louisiana. Right. Give you more flexibility in deductibles. As for hurricanes, I want to go with a $25,000 deductible. That's my business. Let me do that. Don't let some state bureaucrat on the insurance department tell me I can't do that. So give us more flexibility as homeowners. We can get through a couple of years. Hopefully, Congress will give us that wind coverage within the flood zone, and I think eventually it'll work itself out. We've just got a couple of tough years, keeping our fingers crossed that no storm takes place.
One thing that confuses me is the insurance industry made profits in 1995.
Huge profits.
Huge profits. And yet they're pulling out of South Louisiana and the Gulf Coast.
I mean, well, they're not really pulling out. You see, State Farm says now we're going to sell again. For the right dollars, any insurance company is going to sell you.
My point is there seems to be a profit here. They seem to be able to make a profit. I mean, it's expensive at times, but they seem to be able to make a profit.
Look, Walmart, if Walmart can get 50% return on one product and get nothing on the other product, or a 2 or 3% markup, they're going to go with the 50%. Insurance companies want to get the best profit they can for their policyholders. I don't begrudge them that, but they don't want to write the insurance policies that have the most risk. And obviously, flood insurance have the most risk. Now, I'm saying, hey, you got to take the good with the bad if you're going to operate in Louisiana. They're making a killing on auto insurance, on health insurance, on workman's comp insurance. They're making a lot of money. You got to tell them, look, you got to take some of the more risky business with the bad business, and it takes a strong governor, strong insurance commissioner, and a legislature with some backbone, and quite frankly, we haven't had that push in our state.
Now, you were insurance commissioner. Bobby Jindal has said that he believes there's collusion among the insurance companies. Do you think there's collusion?
I don't know. He's pushing another good piece of legislation along with our Mississippi friends, Senator Trent Lott, Gene Taylor, the congressman over there, to bring in antitrust provisions within the insurance because of this collusion. They're the only industry that can get together and fix their rates. No other industry. Steel mills can't do that. Nobody else can do that.
That sounds like collusion to me.
Sure does sound like collusion. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're not, but go ahead and pass legislation saying it's a federal violation if you do. I think it's good legislation that Jindal and others are proposing.
Now, you have said that Mississippi is doing things that we should be doing as well. What's Mississippi doing?
Very aggressive public officials. The Attorney General, the Insurance Commissioner, the Governor are very aggressive in holding the insurance department's feet to the, rather, insurance companies' feet to the fire, number one. Number two, they're putting money into the state-run funds. They have state funds just like we do, like our citizens. We don't put any money in our program. In Mississippi, they put $700 million in their program. In Florida, they put over $1 billion in their program. You got to, instead of giving the money to the insurance companies, it should have gone into a state pool like they did in California, like they're doing in Mississippi, and like they're doing in Florida. We are just giving it to the insurance companies and hoping and praying that rates are going to go down. I'd like to think they are, but I'm not too optimistic.
All right. Former Insurance Commissioner Jim Brown, thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here with you.